Let's begin with the sandstorms. Most part of the northeast and upper west regions have been covered in dust, and residents are worried. We'll be finding out here why that is happening. And also the story indeed is that many residents of the northeast and upper west region say they've been worried about the volume of dust particles in the air there. The residents describe the situation as a dust storm. Visibility is said to be so poor that you can hardly see beyond 100 meters. There are now fears of possible respiratory conditions, and you don't want that, especially when we're already battling coronavirus. Northeast Regional Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has been speaking to some residents. We'll bring you the sounds from that conversation that our correspondent Ilyasu Tanko had with some residents there. But Ilyasu himself joins me on the line right now, so we can have a quick chat with him. Hello, Ilyasu.
Hi.
Ilyasu, give us a mental picture. I mean, we do see the pictures there, the videos that you sent through, but give us a mental picture of how it feels to be in this situation. How bad is it?
Well, this is a meteorological phenomenon never seen before in the region. According to residents that I've spoken to, what is happening is that yesterday in the night, the cloud was very cloudy in the night. We saw some flashes of lightning, and so many residents went to sleep thinking that there will be some showers of rain, only for them to wake up, see a very hazy cloud, poor visibility, and right now what is happening is that if you walk a little distance, you will find some white particles on your head, and you can see that from motorists and travelers who are coming from especially the northern part of the region, in the upper east and upper west region. You see these fine white particles on their head, and the weather is also very hazy. The sun is not all that clear, and you can feel some heat. Where I am in Wale, you can feel some heat in your body, and this has brought a lot of worry to the residents here.
And these are some of the residents that you've been talking to. Hang on for me, Leah, so I'll come back to you. Let's listen to those residents now.
Before like this, because now the farmers are preparing to go to farm. By how to the weather be, they will pray to get the rain. By the rain too not fall. So since maybe last 3 days a day, we are seeing the signs like the rain want to fall, but it can't fall. So this morning, when we are waking this morning, we see some like harmattan, but it's not harmattan, and then to the rain too not fall. So we have heat here. How we don't understand it, because we don't see it before. So now we are praying God, maybe before today or tomorrow we'll get rain, and then the farmers will come start their job.
So those are some of the residents who've been speaking to my colleague Ilyasu Tanko in the northeast region. Ilyasu, what are authorities in the region saying about this?
Well, we've not been hearing from the authority. I spoke to the regional minister, not on this particular subject, but I asked him what has been happening in the region, and he mentioned that, and he said his understanding is that something might have happened around the Sahelian region, and that has triggered this phenomenon. But he has not been able to explicitly give me reasons as to whether the environmental experts or environmental officers in the region or the meteorological agencies in the region, whether they have investigated this particular claim. He did not say that, but he said he has also been experiencing it, and he will try and find some answers from the meteorological agency and then the environmental agency as well.
Eliasu, thank you for that update. We'll be engaging the meteorological agency here in the capital to find out what answers they have for that. But the situation that we just talked about in the northeast region from where Eliasu joined me is not different from what is happening in the upper west region, where we have our correspondent Rafiq Salam standing by with the details. Hello, Rafiq.
Hello, Gifty.
Rafiq, tell us, we've seen the situation in the northeast region. How does this compare to what is happening where you are?
The situation in the upper west region is not different. You can barely see from 100 meters away. Visibility is very poor. We are in a dry, hazy weather, and the weather is somehow very warm. And so this is uncharacteristic the past few days that we have experienced. But I'm thinking that this is not the first time that we experienced that storm in the upper west region. It has been happening, but not regularly.
Well, if you say it's been happening regularly, what sort of explanation do, say, environmental agency, the Environmental Protection Agency or the meteorological agency there give this phenomenon?
I haven't spoken to the authorities that you have mentioned regarding this particular issue, because if you recall, last year we did have a similar weather pattern, and then we did report on it. But even when I got to the regional director of the Ghana Health Service, when I was to interview him on CSM, and in describing the weather and also describing the situation, so what might have been the factor why people are being infected with the virus, he mentioned the weather, the current parts of weather that we are seeing today, which is really not good, because we talked about long-term plans that people are likely to have respiratory disease when we have a weather pattern like this continues, because it's even difficult to even see, because when you are inhaling, you virtually inhale dust.
Rafiq, you indicated that this is not new. What is new is coronavirus and the fact that this is a respiratory infection, and we're looking at possible respiratory infections as well because of this sandstorm. How do health authorities there respond to that?
The health authorities are not really happy with the situation because, like we said, talking about coronavirus and also this issue of this dust storm that we are having, just like a double jeopardy, a double agony for the people, because already the people are fighting two unknown enemies. Are talking about CSM and then the coronavirus, and so when you lump third one into it, it will be too much for the people at least to carry.
It's very disturbing, and we really sympathize with people who live in this region who are going through this. I mean, add CSM and add this sandstorm and then add coronavirus. Like you said, that's certainly triple agony, perhaps I should put it. But Rafiq, thank you very much for that update. If you live in the upper west region and the northeast region, I'd love to hear from you. Tell us, what is the situation? How are you taking this? What are you doing? What do you think can be done about it? Like Rafiq said, this is not new, has been experienced there before. Text us or WhatsApp us on 0540-109009. Let's get on the line again. I'm speaking to the acting head of Central Analysis and Forecasting Office of the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Felicity Ahafianyo. Sorry, she joins me on the line. Felicity, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you too. Good afternoon.
So we're hearing what's happening in the upper west and the northeast region. Why? How do you describe this? What is happening? So much dust in the air.
Yes, we all know that this time is still the Harmattan season over the northern sector, and we have the dust storm being raised over the central and northern portions of Mali as a result of the intensification of the Altos high pressure over the North Atlantic Ocean that reached down, and then the emanating winds passed over the desert and they blow the dust down to us. The process started on Tuesday, then yesterday it got much closer, and then today is over the upper regions, and then currently is descending over the northern region, over Tamale. And visibility currently
if I can just interrupt you briefly, I'm sorry. I really didn't understand what you just said, and I really want to break it down. If you can help me with this, what exactly is that? I know that you took us through the process. And which is why we are experiencing this, but I just want to have a little bit more clarity. If you can break it down, if there's perhaps a different, common language you can use for me to be able to follow you, I'll appreciate it.
Okay, we have the dust that has moved over Mali by the winds, the surface winds, and then bring it down to part of Burkina Faso, part of Côte d'Ivoire, and then over Ghana. So we have a plump, or the concentration is over Ghana, part of Côte d'Ivoire, and then part of Burkina Faso. That is what we are having currently. It's a dust storm that has been raised that is moving around us.
Okay, so it's blowing from somewhere, gone through Mali, gone through Burkina Faso, and it's on us now here. I have a map that we got from the Meteorological Agency that we just put on a screen for our viewers to take a look. They're seeing it right now, and I believe that you have a similar view of it.
Yes.
Are you able to explain to us what we're seeing right now? I see the African map, a West African map, the African map, and then I see the Ghana map on it's on my left.
Yes.
Can you please explain what this is?
Well, the area that we are interested in over here is the one that is in purple or the pink. The first one, we have a lot of clouds, and then we have some purple cloud, but not too deep. Those are dust traces over the sub-region. But the one that is of concern, if you check the date on it, we have a dust RGB. Thursday.
It's Tuesday. It says Tuesday, the 14th of April.
Tuesday. That is when the dust is being raised. But we have some clouds that has covered it, so it's not so visible. Okay. If you check the next one that we have, the Wednesday, you will see that we have some pinkish color over Burkina Faso that was descending towards us.
Yeah.
And then the next one is the Thursday one that you could see that we have the dust all over. The upper region, the upper west, and then the part of the upper is even into Togo and then Benin. Now, you can see that we have the pink area, that is the dust that we are talking about.
Yeah.
And there is, so you can see there is one that there is a wind on it. So the wind is blowing all the way through the dust over the country. So part of those dust particles will still trigger down over the northern region itself, and then parts of the Bono Ahafo region, if I'm using the old 10 regions. So for in terms of intensity, those over the upper west region, they are having the worst of the conditions right now. Visibility is less than 1,000 over most areas of that place. So we are expecting this system to clear as the winds are blowing. By evening today, we have the moisture leading winds blowing over our sea here. It will blow in, and then it will aid it to form clouds, and then possible clouds out, and then settle over. So towards the weekend, there will be relaxation, and then the dust will be thing of the past.
So I think there's a bit of an interruption in your line. If you can reposition for me, because I heard you clearly when you explained the pinkish shade we're having on top of Ghana, Benin, Togo. That is the wind, the south storm you're saying. And so I see it, and it makes perfect sense.
Yes, that was yesterday.
I'll have you reposition. It's still not very clear. If you can just adjust yourself a little bit where you are. I'm speaking to Felicity. I have Fianyo from the Meteorological Agency. Yes, please go ahead and let's hear you. You indicated that the wind we're seeing on top of the Ghana map, which indicates that, which explains what's happening in the Upper West and the Northeast region, is likely to trickle down to the other parts of the country, correct?
Yes, you are very correct.
Okay, and so go ahead, please.
So the pink areas, those pinkish thing that you are seeing, that is the dust that our satellite has interpreted it as pink. So once you see it over your area, you should know that you have the dust storm over you. And over the upper west region, they are having the worst. But if we check, we see that the concentration over there is quite higher than to the upper east region and then over the northern region.
So how long will it take, for example, to get to the other regions? So let's say the northern region obviously is closer, but coming all the way down, do you have an idea, you know, how long it will take to reach which region? Yes,
the wind speed, if we were to be in the normal dry Harmattan season, by close of day to tomorrow morning, those dust particles should get to us over the middle sector and then later over the coastal belt. But by midnight today, we will have the moisture leading winds coming in. So as they come in, the dust particles are going to the condensation nuclei. That is going to aid cloud formation. So instead of the dust coming down to affect visibility, to make it poorer for us, it will rather aid cloud formation. So we may not be able to see, but then it's going to cause something we call misty conditions and foggy conditions over the transition zone and then over the Atlantic.
Felicity, it's really bad. I'm losing you gradually. I think I get the point you made about what we should expect later tonight, and the likelihood that perhaps throughout the week we'll have this trickle down, perhaps all the way down to Accra. But you said that there is a good part to it, which I missed.
Yes, we have a good aspect of it. Currently over Accra now, we are having some thunderclouds forming over every area. And so by evening, the winds will change their direction. As it changes their direction, the dust wind will also come in, but it's going to help in forming more clouds. So for us to have the dust, we will not experience it as those over the northern regions are experiencing it currently.
Okay.
So towards the weekend, there's going to be improvement in the dust situations over the upper west region and then the upper east region.
Right, Felicity. I say a big thank you, but is this, when it happens like this, would you say, is this new, first of all? Rafik tells us the region has experienced something like this before, but I'm not sure about the frequency. And for the Northeast, I don't know if it's, how frequent is this? Is it new? What can you tell us about that?
It's not too frequent over us, but in every 2 or 4 years' time, we do have situations like this. But climatologically, the upper east, they are still in their Harmattan season. But we have it in a way that the dust, at times the dust doesn't reach, but then temperatures are always on the higher side. As you could bear me a witness, last week and then early this week, some stations were reporting around 42 degrees Celsius. Temperatures are quite high over that area. But then this year we have the Azores high pressure, I bet you, but there is nothing I can do about it. It's a picture that leads to this type of phenomenon. If it were to be weak, we wouldn't be talking about the dust that is happening currently. Under normal circumstances, it's supposed to be the dry and then sunny weather, very hot. But then this one, the good aspect is that it's coming to reduce temperatures for them a bit, because the winds are a bit cold, so temperatures will be modified a bit for them. And then visibility will be very poor, and then at times it will be a problem to the lungs too. And it's a worst of the kind to them for now, for what is happening to them right now.
I just got a text message from one of my viewers that says, I think it is the entire region, the entire north. He's saying that he thinks it's the entire regions in the north, because I just called my mother at Pusiga, he says, which is in the upper east region, a border town between Togo and Burkina Faso, and the same story exists there. It's coming from Malik Yakubu in Kumasi. So it is possible that all the regions up there, I mean, you've explained that already, so we won't belabor the point. So it's possible that all these parts have it. But do we have an idea how soon they usually last?
For what is happening currently, as I said earlier on, by Saturday, there should be improvements in the visibilities over that area. In terms of relative humidity, the dryness of the air, it will also improve today a little bit, but the visibilities will still be poor by tomorrow around 12 to 1800, we'll also see improvement in the visibility. But hopefully by Saturday, Sunday, the dust will clear off, and then they will go back to their hot temperatures.
Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on it, and if it doesn't change, if it changes, whichever way, we'll come back to you, see if we can get some more analysis on that. Yeah,
definitely. We are also monitoring, and we'll send you an update.
Right. Thank you. Felicity Ahafianyo is the acting head of forecasting with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Most of you have been sending in some messages. Let's see if we can read some quickly, and then we'll move on to the next story. It says we should not allow these dust particles to get to leave devastating effect. It is uncontrollable. We must deliver good intervention, you say. I'm not quite sure what you mean, but thank you for sending in your message, Ameyao from Subing. Thanks for sending that in. This one says, I can just see what is going on in the Upper West and the Northeast region of the country, and it looks like the eclipse of the sun by Big Joe inside Odumasi Krobo. Big Joe, we don't know. The Meteorological Agency has described what it is. They didn't say it's an eclipse of the sun. Good afternoon, Gifty. Please send this information to the Vice Chancellor about the e-learning. Okay, you're sending your e-learning frustration. That's the subject we'll be looking at subsequently here on this show. So keep your eyes glued on it. For Boko, from Boko, Adams is sending this from Boko. He says, we the residents in Boko are currently in semi-hell because of hot, warm, and dusty storm. I'm sorry about that, but you have to keep yourself covered and keep yourself protected. The Meteorological Agency can only predict and tell us what this is, but they can't really change it. All right. So thank you very much for sending in your messages.